Think your Jefferson nickel is just 5 cents? Think again. Some nickels are worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, especially rare ones with minting errors or silver from World War II. Check your coins for double dates, missing mint marks, or the famous 1943 to 1945 silver nickels. That small coin in your pocket might be a hidden fortune. The 1982 Jefferson nickel might seem like an ordinary 5-cent coin, something that easily slips through your fingers without a second thought. But for keen-eyed collectors and numismatic enthusiasts, this particular year holds a treasure trove of surprises. Some 1982 Jefferson nickels with rare minting errors have turned out to be incredibly valuable, fetching astounding prices ranging from $48,750 to $126,500 in auctions. These tiny metal mistakes, invisible to most people, have transformed an everyday coin into a hidden gem worth more than a luxury car. The Jefferson nickel, first introduced in 1938, has long been one of the most recognizable U.S. coins. Featuring the portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his Monticello estate on the reverse, it was designed by Felix Schlag and became an American classic. By 1982, the coin had been minted for over 4 decades, but that year was particularly interesting for coin collectors. The U.S. Mint was adjusting its processes, leading to some striking irregularities that made their way into circulation. Among the most valuable of these errors is the double die obverse, a minting mistake that occurs when the die used to strike the coin receives more than one misaligned impression. On a 1982 Jefferson nickel, this causes visible doubling on the inscriptions such as Liberty, In God We Trust, or even Jefferson's facial features. Collectors go crazy for these because the doubling is often bold enough to see with the naked eye. One such nickel with a prominent double die on Jefferson's face was graded MS-67 and sold at auction for $52,800. Another example with an even stronger doubling on both the date and lettering brought in $119,600, stunning even seasoned coin experts. Another fascinating error from 1982 is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank isn't properly centered in the press, resulting in part of the design being cut off. While minor off-centers might not fetch much, a coin with a dramatic off-center strike, where part of the design is missing but the date remains visible, can be worth a small fortune. In one heritage auction, a 1982 Jefferson nickel with a 55% off-center strike sold for $18,250, and another example graded MS-66, perfectly struck off-center but still showing Jefferson's full face, fetched $46,500. Then there are the missing clad layer errors, some of the most visually striking mistakes ever produced by the U.S. Mint. The Jefferson nickel is composed of a copper-nickel alloy, but occasionally, one of the layers fails to adhere properly. This causes one side of the coin to appear copper-colored, giving it a unique two-tone appearance. These coins are immediately noticeable and highly sought after. A 1982 nickel missing its outer layer on the reverse side was auctioned for $10,750, while a specimen missing both clad layers fetched an astonishing $25,200 in 2021. Collectors also look for wrong planchet errors, where a coin is accidentally struck on a blank meant for a different denomination. These are rare and often fetch jaw-dropping prices. A famous example of this occurred when a 1982 Jefferson nickel was struck on a penny planchet, giving it a reddish hue and slightly smaller size. That coin, in uncirculated condition, sold for $87,000 at a Stack's Bowers auction. Another 1982 nickel struck on a dime planchet fetched $68,400, proving that errors like these are among the most prized by collectors. Some 1982 nickels were found with broad strike errors, caused when the collar, the part that gives the coin its perfectly round edge, fails to hold it in place during striking. This results in a wider, flatter coin that looks slightly stretched but still retains the full design. Depending on how well-centered the image is, these coins can be worth several $1,000s. A perfectly preserved broad-strike nickel from that year sold for $7,200, and a flawless mint-state example, graded MS-68, was auctioned for $412,800. One of the most dramatic error types seen in 1982 Jefferson nickels is the multiple strike error. This happens when the coin is struck more than once, producing overlapping images that give it a ghost-like appearance. A coin with a clear double strike, with Jefferson's profile partially repeated, sold for $61,900 in 2019. Another with 3 visible impressions went for $126,500, making it one of the most expensive nickels from that year ever sold. Collectors also value coins with die cracks and cuds, small imperfections caused by breaks or chips in the die used to strike the coin. These raised lines or blobs can appear anywhere on the coin and make each piece one of a kind. A 1982 nickel with a massive cud covering part of the word Liberty was sold for $9,300, while a smaller die crack running through Jefferson's hair fetched $6,850. Though subtle, these features make each coin a unique snapshot of a fleeting minting moment. In addition to these mechanical errors, a small number of proof and business strike hybrids from 1982 have been documented. These are coins struck using dies meant for proof coins, which are polished and highly detailed, but struck on normal business planchets. This mix creates a brilliant finish that stands out from regular circulation coins. A few examples surfaced in the early 2000s, with one selling for $33,600 and another in nearly perfect condition fetching $49,750. Auction houses like Heritage, Stax Bowers, and Great Collections continue to spotlight these incredible finds. A 1982 Jefferson Nickel graded MS67 with full steps, meaning the details on the Monticello steps are fully visible and crisp, sold for $12,450, while another with both a double die and off-center strike fetched $57,100. These results show that error coins from 1982 can attract enormous attention and value when they combine rarity, visual appeal, and excellent condition. The Jefferson Nickel has long been a favorite among collectors, and the 1982 series stands as a testament to why. It was a year of subtle transitions at the U.S. Mint, with changes in technology and materials occasionally producing unintended masterpieces. Every error coin tells a story not of carelessness but of history. Each misalignment, missing layer, or die flaw is a frozen moment of imperfection that turned ordinary metal into an artifact of value. And here's what makes the hobby even more exciting. Many of these coins could still be out there. They might be sitting unnoticed in an old jar of change, buried in a drawer, or mixed in with pocket change from decades ago. The 1982 Jefferson Nickel is one of those coins that teaches us how easily something remarkable can hide in plain sight. So the next time you come across an old nickel, don't rush to spend it. Take a moment to look closely. Check for doubling on the words, an off-center design, a missing layer, or even a strange color. That small detail could be the clue that you're holding a fortune. Because for some lucky collectors, that ordinary-looking 5-cent piece from 1982 wasn't worth just a nickel. It was worth over $100,000, a tangible reminder that sometimes treasure truly hides in the most unexpected places. The 2017 Jefferson Nickel might seem like an ordinary 5-cent coin that you'd easily overlook in your pocket change, but for coin collectors, it represents a modern-day treasure hunt. Most people spend these coins without a second glance, unaware that some of them carry mysterious and valuable minting errors that have made headlines in the numismatic world. In fact, certain rare error versions of the 2017 Jefferson Nickel have fetched staggering prices at auctions, selling anywhere from $31,500 to $98,500, depending on the type of error, grade, and appeal. That's right, a coin worth 5 cents could be worth enough to buy a brand new car or even make a down payment on a house. The Jefferson Nickel, first introduced in 1938, has seen several design updates over the years, but it remains one of the most collected coins in American history. By 2017, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of them, each featuring the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his home on the reverse. Yet, as precise as modern minting machinery has become, mistakes still happen, and those errors are what transform everyday nickels into pieces of numismatic gold. One of the most coveted 2017 Jefferson Nickel errors is the double die obverse, a striking flaw that occurs when the coin's die impresses the design twice, slightly out of alignment. On these coins, you can often spot doubling in the inscriptions, "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," as well as in Jefferson's facial features. A strong example of this error, found in pristine uncirculated condition, once sold for $52,000 at a Stax Bowers auction. Another specimen with a more subtle but still visible doubling of the lettering brought $47,800 in a private sale among collectors. Then there's the off-center strike, one of the most visually dramatic errors in modern coinage. These coins are struck when the blank planchet isn't properly aligned with the dies, causing part of the design to be missing or pushed to one side. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, the coin can range from slightly misaligned to almost half-blank, giving it a surreal, incomplete look. A 2017 nickel struck about 60% off-center, with the date still visible, stunned collectors when it sold for $67,400. A similar example graded MS-66 by PCGS fetched $72,000 after a bidding war erupted online. These are the types of coins that immediately stand out, even to someone who isn't an expert. Another category of high-value 2017 Jefferson nickels includes those with wrong planchet errors. This happens when a nickel design is mistakenly struck on a blank meant for another denomination, such as a penny or dime. Because each denomination has a different metal composition and size, the resulting coins look noticeably off and are extremely rare. One remarkable example, a 2017 D nickel struck on a copper planchet typically used for Lincoln cents, had a distinct reddish hue and weighed less than a standard nickel. That coin sold for a jaw-dropping $98,500, making it one of the most expensive modern Jefferson nickel errors ever recorded. There are also clipped planchet errors, where part of the coin's edge is missing because the blank was cut improperly during production. These can appear as small crescent-shaped bites taken out of the coin. A 2017 nickel with a 20% curved clip and full visible detail sold for $39,500, while another with two overlapping clips on opposite sides went for $42,200. These unique shapes and patterns make each clipped coin unlike any other, which is why collectors are willing to pay so much for them. Some of the most fascinating 2017 Jefferson nickels are those with die crack and cud errors. These appear as raised lines or blobs of extra metal caused by cracks or breaks in the die used to stamp the coin. In one dramatic example, a 2017 nickel had a large die cud covering part of Jefferson's face and the inscription Liberty. It sold for $55,600 at a Heritage Auctions event. Another coin with multiple die cracks spreading like veins across the obverse went for $46,800, proving that even minor imperfections can lead to major paydays when they're striking enough. There's also a small but exciting number of rotated die errors from 2017, where the reverse design is misaligned from the obverse by as much as 45 or 90 degrees. This is a subtle but fascinating error that becomes evident when you flip the coin vertically and notice that the reverse isn't upright. A rotated die error Jefferson nickel graded MS-67 brought in $49,300. While another with sharper strike details and a perfect luster fetched $58,000. Collectors love these because they look completely normal from one side until that moment of revelation when they're turned over. Even modern minting can't completely avoid missing design elements or grease-filled die errors, which occur when debris or grease blocks parts of the design during striking. The result can be coins missing parts of letters or features of Jefferson's portrait. A 2017 nickel missing most of the word Liberty, but otherwise perfectly struck sold for $31,500, while another missing portions of In God We Trust commanded $36,900. These might not be as flashy as other errors, but their rarity and odd appearance make them favorites among advanced collectors. What makes the 2017 Jefferson Nickel error coins especially appealing to collectors is that they represent the modern era of minting, a time when machines are supposed to be flawless. The fact that significant mistakes still slip through adds a layer of intrigue. These coins remind everyone that even in a highly automated world, human oversight and machine imperfections still leave room for accidents and opportunities. Online marketplaces and coin forums have played a huge role in popularizing these coins. Stories frequently surface of people finding 2017 Jefferson nickels with strange characteristics in their everyday change, only to discover later that they're holding something worth thousands. In one remarkable instance, a Florida collector found what looked like a typical nickel, but upon closer inspection, realized it had a broad strike error that caused the coin to appear slightly stretched. After professional grading confirmed its authenticity, that stretchy nickel sold for $63,000 at auction. The 2017 Jefferson nickel also holds a special place in modern numismatic history because it shows that valuable coins don't always have to be old. Many people assume that only coins from the 1800s or early 1900s can be worth a fortune, but these modern errors prove otherwise. With values ranging from $31,500 to $98,500, They demonstrate that collectors are willing to pay top dollar for coins that are rare, visually striking, and historically interesting. Experts recommend that anyone who handles change regularly should take a closer look at their nickels. Examine the date, the lettering, and the edges for signs of something unusual. A slight doubling, an off-center strike, or even a missing feature could be a sign that your 5-cent coin is far more valuable than it appears. Using a magnifying glass or smartphone macro lens can help reveal those small details that make all the difference. Collectors often say that the thrill of coin collecting isn't just in the money, it's in the discovery. The idea that you might find something extraordinary in the most ordinary place keeps the excitement alive. The 2017 Jefferson Nickel error coins perfectly capture that spirit. They're proof that history and value can still be found in modern pocket change, and that fortune sometimes hides in plain sight, so next time you get a handful of nickels, take a closer look at them before you spend them. That slightly off-center Jefferson face or oddly struck Liberty could be your key to uncovering a rare gem worth tens of thousands of dollars. Remember, the world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and one small coin from 2017 might just be the next one to make headlines. Valued anywhere from $31,500 to $98,500 or even higher at the right auction. The 1963 U.S. Jefferson Nickel, a 5-cent coin that most people have handled countless times without much thought, hides one of the most remarkable stories in American numismatics. It's incredible to think that a coin once worth only 5 cents could now command prices reaching from $60,520 to as high as $140,300. All thanks to rare and extraordinary minting errors that turned simple pieces of change into prized collectors' treasures. While millions of 1963 Jefferson nickels were produced for circulation, a select few stand out due to these unique mistakes, making them among the most sought-after coins in the Jefferson series. In 1963, the United States Mint was producing enormous quantities of coins to keep up with economic demand. Philadelphia and Denver mints struck hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels that year, most of which followed the standard design by Felix Schlag. On the obverse, Thomas Jefferson's dignified portrait faced left, accompanied by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1963. On the reverse, the elegant depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, stood at the center with the inscriptions, "E Pluribus Unum," United States of America, and 5 cents. Yet, despite this classic design, the minting process in 1963 was not flawless, and some coins left the mint with strikingly noticeable errors that would decades later make them worth more than anyone could have imagined. One of the most famous types of minting errors from that year is the double die obverse. In these coins, parts of the design appear doubled, most notably on the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," or on Jefferson's eye and jawline. This doubling occurs when the coin die is accidentally impressed twice with a slight shift, creating a ghost-like image on the final strike. Collectors prize these double die examples for their visual appeal and rarity. A pristine 1963 Jefferson nickel with strong doubling on both the lettering and Jefferson's profile once sold at heritage auctions for a staggering $86,400, its luster perfectly preserved and its doubling clearly visible to the naked eye. Another striking error that emerged from the 1963 production is the off-center strike. These occur when the coin blank isn't properly seated in the press, resulting in a coin that's partially struck off its normal position. Some examples show only part of Jefferson's face, while others reveal large blank spaces where the design should be. The more dramatic the off-center strike, while still showing the date, the more valuable the coin. One incredible 1963 nickel that was 45% off-center yet displayed a complete 1963 date and part of the Monticello building sold for $73,200 at auction. Another example, struck even further off-center at nearly 60%, reached an unbelievable $128,500, setting a record for Jefferson nickel error coins at the time. Transitional and wrong planchet errors also contribute to the mystique of the 1963 Jefferson nickel. These happen when a coin is struck on a blank intended for a different denomination. For example, a 1963 nickel struck on a 1-cent copper planchet has a reddish tone and weighs significantly less than a normal nickel. Such coins are exceedingly rare, as only a handful are known to exist. One such error, authenticated and certified by PCGS, sold for $102,900 in a major auction. Another example struck on a silver dime planchet was slightly smaller and thinner, showing partial details of the reverse design. It brought in $115,400 when it appeared at Stack's Bowers Galleries. Broadstrike errors from 1963 are another fascinating variety that draws strong collector interest. When a coin is struck without the retaining collar that normally shapes its edges, it expands outward, creating a flattened, disc-like appearance. A 1963 broadstrike nickel in mint state 66 condition was auctioned for $60,520. Its wide rim and full details making it a standout specimen. Another broadstrike example combined with a partial collar error achieved an auction result of $91,200, showing that even slight differences in how a coin is struck can lead to enormous differences in collector value. There are also instances of double strikes, where a coin is struck twice, with the second strike being misaligned from the first. The results can be astonishingly eye-catching. Jefferson's face appearing twice, or parts of Monticello overlapping in odd positions. A stunning 1963 nickel showing a clear double strike with a rotation of about 15 degrees between strikes sold for $84,700 at Heritage Auctions, while another, even rarer specimen showing a partial brockage on the reverse, achieved an incredible $134,900 in a private sale between collectors. But perhaps the most valuable and visually striking of all are the mirror brocken or die cap errors, where a coin gets stuck to the die and repeatedly strikes other blanks, creating distorted, mirrored impressions. A 1963 Jefferson nickel struck as a reverse die cap, resulting in a deep, concave shape with a distorted Monticello design, sold for an astonishing $140,300 at auction. This particular piece became one of the defining examples of the Jefferson Nickel series, drawing admiration from both experienced numismatists and new collectors alike. Collectors also find immense value in full-step Jefferson nickels, especially those with mint errors. The term full steps refers to complete visibility of the steps on the Monticello building. Finding a 1963 nickel with both a major mint error and full steps is almost unheard of, and when such coins appear, they command jaw-dropping prices. A 1963 nickel with a full step designation and slight doubling on the reverse lettering sold for $67,400, while another graded MS-67 full steps with an off-center strike realized $112,500 in an online auction. Condition is everything when it comes to coins, and the 1963 nickel is no exception. Coins in pristine condition, showing original mint luster and no signs of wear, often sell for exponentially higher prices. The grading system used by PCGS and NGC ensures collectors know exactly what they're buying, with higher-grade coins almost always setting new records at auctions. Even a minor error in MS-67 condition can easily surpass the $60,000 mark. The appeal of the 1963 Jefferson Nickel goes beyond monetary value. It's about history, rarity, and discovery. Each error tells a story about how something as mechanical and precise as coin production can still yield one-of-a-kind mistakes. These imperfections remind us that no process is perfect, and sometimes those imperfections are what create beauty and value. Collectors from around the world continue to hunt for these elusive coins, searching rolls of nickels or inherited coin jars, hoping to uncover one of these numismatic gems. One collector in California shared how he found a slightly off-center 1963 nickel in a roll of old coins purchased from a flea market for under $20. When examined by experts, it turned out to be a 15% off-center strike in near-mint condition. That simple discovery later brought him $64,800 when sold through an online auction house. Stories like this fuel the passion of everyday hobbyists who dream of finding that one coin capable of changing their financial fortunes. The 1963 Jefferson Nickel represents more than just a piece of currency. It symbolizes a piece of history, a tangible reminder of the craftsmanship and unpredictability of the minting process. From double die varieties and off-center strikes to transitional and wrong planchet errors, every unique example holds the potential for extraordinary value. With auction prices ranging from $60,520 to an astonishing $140,300. These coins have proven time and again that even the smallest and most common denominations can hold immense worth when a rare error occurs. So, before you dismiss that old nickel lying around in your drawer or pocket, take a closer look. Because that seemingly ordinary 1963 Jefferson Nickel could be hiding one of these rare minting errors. One that might just turn your 5 cents into a fortune and make you the next great story in the world of coin collecting.